welcome to episode 67 of Book Writing Tips, quick tips for new and seasoned authors, and I am your host, Alba Arango. In today's episode, I want to go over places, where you can connect with other authors and how that can be really helpful regardless of where you are in your writing journey. So, with no further ado, let's get down to it. Let's talk about how and where to connect with other authors. Alrighty then, today's episode will be in two parts as always. In part one, I want to go over some places online where you can connect. And then in part two, I want to talk about the very dreaded in-person places where you can connect to other authors. And before I get to any of this, let me just express, I understand the vast majority of us authors are introverted. We prefer being at home or at least not being around other people. We don't really like social events. We get a little bit of anxiety. And of course, that is not a blanket statement for all authors, but in my experience, the majority of authors tend to be more introverted. So I know just the idea of connecting with other authors, especially if you're a first-time author, it can be an intimidating factor. But I'm hoping that after today, you'll at least get some ideas of places you can go where you'll feel safe, where you won't feel so much anxiety about connecting with other people. So let's get down to it. Let's start with this. Part one, places you can go online to connect to other authors and how this can be helpful. Okay. I'm going to start with the first one, which is social media. And not everyone is on social media, but there are some places on social media that can be really helpful to make some kind of connections with other authors. So in my personal experience, what I have found nowadays in 2026 to be kind of the most supportive community online is actually Threads. And that actually took me by surprise, but I get it. If I had done this podcast 5 years ago, I would 100% have said, hey, if you're not on Twitter, the author community on Twitter is fantastic. They're supportive. You're going to find a lot of information. But, situations being as they are and the way, things have happened, the author community from Twitter kind of migrated to both Threads and Blue Sky. And I will tell you just from my personal experience, I have found the author community on Threads to really be the most supportive. And so you can even just do writing community or author threads, and you are just going to get tons and tons and tons of people that are there to connect with other authors. And that can be a safe place for you. And this is also true if you're just there to kind of try to build a community yourself, like a group of followers, consistently, posing questions, consistently engaging. And I am going to stress engaging. If you're just on there to post your thing and then leave, and you're not willing to engage with both people who comment with you, as well as going to other people's and commenting on them, you're not going to grow a very big community. But what I have found is with the author community on Threads, as long as you are active on Threads, you are going to just, post something as simple as, oh my gosh, I wrote 200 words today. And, I know that's not a lot, but I feel like that's really a great accomplishment. And you will start to see that people will comment. They'll be like, hey, great job. Well done. You're going to start to see this sort of supportive community. And that can be really, really important for you, especially if you're a newbie author, to kind of feel like you have this support group helping you out. But it is also true if you have a question, you can kind of pose it there and address it to the writing community as the topic. And you'll probably get a number of people who respond to your question that you are asking. It could be anything from, hey, what software do you guys use? Or, hey, what do you think about this scenario? Or where do you find beta readers? Or anything that you have, any kind of questions you have. I have found that the writing community on Threads has been really supportive and responsive. So it can be really helpful if you are trying to get some questions answered. And if you want to try to build a community of fellow authors that kind of support each other. Now, also on social media, I would say Facebook is also, well established, and they have a lot of writing groups, and there are all kinds of writing groups. There are critique groups. There are, forums where you can ask a question. There are genre specific groups specifically for like if you write romance or if you write mystery or if you write sci-fi, if you write kids books, and they are specific to that genre. And that's a great place to go. Now, most of these Facebook groups will have you join their group. They'll have you fill out a little questionnaire, and they do have writing guidelines, meaning you can't be a troll and you can't sit there and like badmouth all these other people on there or say that was a stupid comment or anything like that, because you'll get booted out of the group, and rightfully so. So make sure you kind of adhere to their guidelines. A lot of them have, if you already have a book published, they have specific guidelines as to how much self-promotion you are permitted to do. Sometimes it's only on one day a week that you are permitted to talk about your book. And be careful if you're joining reading groups, and they are great, by the way. If you want to join these reading groups, they do have very, very specific guidelines that you are not allowed to promote your book in that reading forum. But they are wonderful places to connect to other readers. Now, if you're connecting to other writers, which is what this is all about, those communities are wonderful for that. And then you don't have to feel anxiety or, anything, because you can just go there and just read what other people are saying and not feel like you have to participate. But it is a great place where if you want to just kind of get your foot in the door of starting that sort of connection with other writers, they're a great kind of safe place to do it. All right, outside of social media, because if you don't want to do social media, I don't blame you. The one that I have found that has been really helpful for me, and it was really, really helpful when I was first starting out as an author, is the Kindle boards. And I think it's KB, I don't know, whatever. Just do a Google search for Kindle boards and it'll take you there. They are actually all about the Kindle. And most of it is about readers, people who read on the Kindle, but they have a specific forum called the Writers Cafe that is specifically for writers of all levels. You can find, and you don't even have to post anything. You can just go there and lurk at what kind of questions people are asking, because they'll ask questions about software, and they'll ask questions about, hey, where is there, place where I can do some free marketing, or where are the best places now in 2026 that I can, market my book, and where can I find, editors? And there's all kinds of questions, or you can ask the questions too. Again, the more you engage, the more you're going to see people engaging with you, and the more followers you will get on your social media as well. Because authors try to, for the most part, we try to be a supportive community. So I would recommend the Kindle boards. You do have to become a member of it. It's not paid or anything like that, but they do like to keep track of it because they do kind of vet it. And if you are being a troll, again, posting inappropriate comments and stuff like that, they do boot you out, and then you can no longer participate in the Kindle boards. So just go there, kind of be mindful of all of that, kind of go there with the premise that, hey, I want to belong to an author community. I'm introverted. This is a great place. And it, by the way, is a great place to lurk, more so even than social media, because social media has algorithms and all of this, and this is more a forum. People ask questions, people respond to the questions, and it's really a great place to find engagement. And last but not least, for online communities, I would say Reddit, but I would also take Reddit with a grain of salt. They do have a lot of writing community groups, forums within it, but I have noticed, and this could just be the ones I happen to, come across, that you do have a lot of authors that rant on Reddit, which is fine if you want to listen to some authors ranting about the publishing industry. They're ranting about AI. They're ranting about, and you know what? Sometimes that's necessary, and it's good for authors to see this sort of, hey, I'm not alone in this, and seeing the rants is good. Just kind of be aware of that you are going to come across that. I have seen a lot more of that on Reddit than these other platforms I've mentioned, but you can also ask questions on Reddit and get a lot of feedback from that as well. So those are great places to look online, but I am going to tell you, and I know this is hard, but I have found the best places to really connect to authors are in-person events. So before I go into where you can find in-person places to meet up with other authors, it's time for the crazy law / writing prompt. And if you are new to the podcast, every week I give you a crazy law, and it is once upon a time a real law in history. And your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to write a short story based on that crazy law. And it's just a way to flex your writing muscles or get a break from your work in progress. So here we go. This week's crazy law. In Indiana, citizens are not allowed to attend a cinema or theater within at least 4 hours after eating garlic. Now, I would personally love to actually know the story behind why they had to make that a law, but that is actually hilarious. So anyways, if you want to write a short story about that, go for it. It'd be kind of funny to do. All right, moving on. Part 2, in-person events, where you can find them and how they can be helpful. Okay, so my first suggestion for this is actually, let's try free. Okay, free is always good, especially if you're just dipping your toe into the writing community. Spending a lot of money might be very intimidating and give you anxiety. And if you already have anxiety about events, then free is definitely a good place to go. Because then if you have to walk out because your anxiety is getting to you, then you're not going to feel bad that you just threw $100 down the drain. So I would actually start with your local library and look at the events calendar and see if they have any writing events. Most local libraries do. Now, if you live in a really small community, that may not be something that your small community does. But if you have like a bigger community close by, like if you live near enough to a bigger city, I would check their library events and see if they have any. And there are a lot of them. A lot of libraries have workshops that are free for authors. They have author readings that are good to attend to. They have book events. They have all kinds of events that are both reader and writer because it's a library. And these are great places to connect with other authors. And even if you don't like go to a workshop to, make connections and talk to people and get people's phone numbers or get their emails or get their newsletters, even if you're just being in that element around other authors is energizing. You feel energized when you go to these events and you come home and you want to get right back into it and start writing again. And that's what you want. You want to continuously feel motivated to keep writing, especially if you're a young author and you haven't, got a lot of writing under your belt. These are great places to go and see other authors that are both struggling and that are succeeding at what you are trying to do. So these are great places to go. Of course, all book events are great places to go. Just book festivals in general, book events of author signings. If you see one on Barnes & Noble, all of these are great events to go to, but you might not make the connection you're kind of hoping to. That's why I'm saying go to library events where you're going to see other authors, and that would be a great place to like get some connections going. Another one is Meetup. Meetup actually has a list of different events that are going on that have to do with, if you type in writing and your city, anything that is going on is hopefully going to be on Meetup. Now, I know like a lot of writers group post their meeting times on Meetup, and that would be a great place to find that, which is actually a great place to meet because writers groups are a great, if not the best place to meet like-minded people like you. And I know I'm in Vegas. We have a lot of writers groups here, Henderson Writers Group, Sin City Writers Group, and even though Aliante has one, Anthem has one, you're going to see a lot of writers groups around the community, and it's a great place where you don't have to participate. You can just kind of go and listen, especially if they're a critique group, and kind of listen to the critique that people are getting. And by the way, a lot of writers groups also have their meetings online. So like the Henderson Writers Group, and I'll put a link to it. You don't have to live in Henderson. You don't have to live in Vegas. You don't even have to live in the United States to participate in the Henderson Writers Group. Like we have members from all over the world. So you can actually just kind of join the Henderson Writers Group if you want to share your work. If you want to just attend the meetings, you can just go to the Zoom and attend the meetings from literally anywhere in the world. So I'll put a link to that in the description so you can go there and kind of see what I'm doing. But that is a great place to kind of communicate with other authors and kind of get the feel of what it's like. But in person is so much better because when you are there, you feel that energy. So if you can get to a writers group, that's a great place to go. And Meetup is probably a good place to find writers groups if you don't have them at your local library, if you don't know where they're at. Okay, a couple other places where you can kind of meet up with local authors. Look into the local chapters of the big national organizations that are genre specific, like the Romance Writers of America. I know the children's one, the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. I know the Sci-Fi and Fantasy has one. Look at your genre specific national organizations because they will most likely have local chapters. And now let me just kind of clarify that. So like the children's one, we have a Nevada chapter. Well, that's kind of big. Nevada is actually a pretty big state. But if you look at their events, they have, of course, a number of them here in Las Vegas, but they also have some in northern Nevada. So like they'll have it in Reno. So if you live anywhere on the outskirts of there, and it's not going to be feasible maybe to go every week, but maybe you can get there once a month. And those events are genre specific and they're fantastic of places to communicate with authors that are like-minded like you. And of course, writers' conferences and workshops is my last one. And both these last two, the local chapters of the romance writers, they do have membership fees. I know for the children's one, it's the only one I belong to, but I think it's like $80 or $85 a year. And then of course you have access to all their online, stuff as well. But it does cost money. And writers' conferences cost money. Workshops usually cost money. I know Writers Digest does a conference. They like a 1-day conference, like $99, and they have it in different cities all over. They've had them here in Vegas and San Diego and LA and, Phoenix. They have them all over, and it's $99, but it's like a full day of different kinds of, workshops and seminars, and it's pretty cool. And they also usually have agents there as well that you can pitch to. It's an additional fee for that. But if you are at that stage where you're going to be ready to pitch to agents, then this might be something to look into. Those are just the Writers Digest. Look for their conferences and they have them. Of course, we have a conference here in Vegas. The Henderson Writers Group puts on the Las Vegas Writers Conference. It's an amazing conference. It's every year in April. And if you have the money and want to come to Vegas, it's a great conference. We always get really positive feedback. I attend every single year. I did teach last year. I won't be teaching next year, but I will be attending there. So if you come to the Las Vegas Writers Conference in April of 2027, you will see me there. I'll be there. So these are also places where you're going to meet like-minded people. You can make those connections, and I can't express how much these conferences inspire me to want to do more. It was actually at a conference that inspired me to start this podcast. So these are great places to meet with other authors, and they can really help you feel motivated, inspired to keep writing. Plus, if you have questions, you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people that are struggling with the same thing, and seasoned writers that have struggled with the same thing and that are always willing to help. It is a great place to find support. So, to recap, lots of places to go online, lots of places to go in person, and the reasons to do it are to find support, to find answers, to help you with struggling, to find places where you can market, places where you can, go to have book signings. There are all kinds of reasons to join this, but the biggest one is it's going to be inspiring and a great way for you to inspire others as well. Well, thank you for tuning in. It went a little bit longer than I expected, but I drop a new episode every week. Be sure to join, follow, hit that like button, and I will see you all next week. Have a safe and hopefully hydrated August.